I'm Brian Winnikins in Washington, D.C. with the National Association of Farm Broadcasting and our Washington Watch Convention. Thank you to our convention sponsors, including DeKalb Asgrow Seeds, Samantha Brandt, your representative serving Northwest Wisconsin, Annabis Silo, the Animal Wellness Center of Buffalo Valley, BASF, Ashley Gaussman, your representative, and also Darlin Equipment Services of Plainview, Minnesota, and Woodville, Wisconsin. I'm with Chris Galen with National Milk. And Chris, let's talk about a couple things. We're not going to really talk too much about trade here. Let's talk about first the MPP program. Dairy farmers have been struggling. They really need to look into this program.
Yes, so the changes that were badly needed, we know, Brian, the program was not working as we wanted it to. It was not an effective safety net for farmers. But the changes that National Milk worked this winter with Congress to make are arriving at the right time. And so between now and June 1st, farmers have to either enroll in or change their coverage in the MPP. So we really encourage producers this spring to go down to their county FSA office, run the numbers, look at the options for coverage, because in all likelihood, particularly if you have fewer than about 250 cows, which is certainly the majority of farms in Wisconsin, you are going to be able to pick a coverage level that's going to net payouts for you this spring and this summer. And
those payouts could be critical to be able to survive year number 3 of low milk prices.
Yeah, actually the start of the 4th year here of low milk prices. So if you have 5 million pounds of production history or less, even if you have a little more than that, you can adjust your coverage level, because we know that we are going to get payments in February, in March, in all likelihood, April, May, and June, and even maybe into the summer. The bad news, that means that margins are poor, but the good news is that now, with the much more affordable premiums, if you buy up coverage under the MPP, you are almost guaranteed to net positive revenue from the program.
They also made some changes to the livestock indemnity program too.
Yeah, the livestock gross margin program now is much more attractive. So if you are a larger scale farmer and the MPP program, if you run the numbers and you say, this is still not going to net anything significant for me, you have the opportunity to cover your milk production history through the LGM. In the past, there weren't that many policies written off that because there was such a small dollar cap on the program. Now that's been entirely lifted. So particularly for the larger farmers in the Midwest and elsewhere, they should really look at what they can arrange through LGM.
Talking with Chris Galen from National Milk. Chris, let's talk about a lot of bills going through the House and the Senate, making FDA say almond milk is not milk, it's almond juice. Soy milk is not soy milk, it's soy juice. Are we seeing a lot more traction of this, that this is going to really go through?
Well, so what happened this winter, Brian, is that Congress passed an omnibus spending bill, and there is a provision in there that expresses Congress's clear concern that the FDA is not doing its job when it allows these plant-based imitators to call themselves milk or cheese or yogurt. We are hoping then that FDA looks at that language, because it's directed at the agency, and Congress is very clear that they feel the status quo is no longer acceptable. We are going to be working with supporters in Congress to remind FDA that it is falling down on the job. And in fact, later in the week, as we're standing here in Washington, a few days from now, we have senior officials from NMPF, including several of our board members who are from the Midwest. We'll be going to FDA headquarters to drive home the point that the FDA is falling down on the job, and it is allowing consumer confusion in the marketplace when it allows dairy-specific terms to be used on non-dairy products.
Also, National Milk's been calling some companies out. You have started to do that. Is that going to continue?
Yeah. We are going to be targeting individual companies. Most recently, we picked on Bolthouse Farms, which is a very common product. It's available in stores from coast to coast. It's actually made by Campbell Foods, the soup company, and Bolthouse is one of their beverage brands. And the biggest word that you see on the label is milk, even though in smaller letters, when you look at it, Brian, it says plant milk protein. It's made out of peas. I'm guessing pea milk is probably not the most attractive description, although it is the most accurate. So that's why it says milk and protein, and that's the type of violation that we joke about it, but people are just aghast when you say, how do you get milk out of peas? Well, you don't. Then why should these companies be allowed to use milk on the label? They shouldn't. But the FDA is not calling them on the carpet for doing that. So we need that to change, and we're just beating on FDA's doors, asking them to do their job.
Well, that battle continues. That's Chris Galen. He's with National Milk Producers Federation, the dairy milk. by the way.
Yes.
And we are in Washington, D.C. with the NAFB Washington Watch. I'm Brian Winnikins for Real Country 1430 WRDN.